Now, your first warned weather forecast from meteorologist Jordan Wolfe.
It was a cold morning across the state line as several locations saw their first sub-freezing temperatures of the season. Here in Rockford, we dropped all the way to 26 this morning. The last time that we had freezing temperatures, you have to look all the way back to April 16th, more than 190 days ago. This effectively ends the growing season, so the National Weather Service will not issue any additional frost advisories or freeze warnings since those temperatures got as far down below that freezing mark early this morning. But for the afternoon, we saw those numbers climb fairly well. Underneath, at least initially, a sunny sky. We rebounded to the mid-50s for many of us. We now sit at 54 in Rockford, Dixon, Woodstock, and in Sterling, 53 in Rochelle, and Freeport, 51 in DeKalb, as well as out in Poplar Grove. Down in Rochelle, we see that partly sunny sky with the increase in mainly the upper level clouds. Not much in the way of any of that wind, so even though our temperature is still below that average mark in the 50s, not feeling all that chilly compared to a few days ago when we had some of those winds in place. That higher pressure is still sitting generally overhead, but starting to give way to that increase in upper level cloud. And you can really see that down to our south into our southwest. Initially, a little bit more of that moisture may work its way toward us as we head into tomorrow, bringing us that next chance for a few very isolated showers. But for tonight, initially with that clear sky, we'll still see those temperatures fall fairly quickly for those Friday night football games. The first real taste of that fall-like weather as we're now nearing the end of the season. Temperatures will be in the low 40s for much of the game time action. Partly cloudy sky settling in for that fall-like chill, but likely not dealing with much in the way of any wind. So still want to break out those jackets, but not necessarily need those wind breakers. For the overnight low tonight, we drop all the way down to the mid and low 30s. 34, the forecast low here in Rockford, underneath a few of those passing clouds. Another potential for some of that patchy frost. And if this were our first frost of the season, likely would see a frost advisory issued. But nonetheless, since we got below that freezing mark last night, we will not see any more of those until we get into the spring. Increasing cloud cover followed by a few spotty showers heading into tomorrow. You really see those starting to show up toward the early hours of tomorrow morning and possibly even into the afternoon with that partly sunny to a mostly cloudy sky. But there's still a layer of drier air in the lowest levels of the atmosphere, so a lot of that, whatever may show up, likely won't make its way down to the surface, giving us only a few isolated sprinkles for tomorrow. That'll leave us with a general warming trend heading into the weekend. Temperatures will likely be pushing that 50 and 60 degree mark, 57 for Saturday, even that 60 degree mark heading into Sunday. Overnight lows not nearly as cold as they have been, sitting in the low 40s. That isolated sprinkle for Saturday, the only rain chance over the weekend. Going into next week, a bit of a messy pattern starts to shape up. We have these two troughs in the atmosphere. They'll start to phase, which means they'll kind of circle around each other as we head into the early part of next week. And the exact placement of those likely going to have a pretty significant influence on our weather here locally. Initially, we may not see much in the way of any widespread moisture, and so our rainfall potential may end up on the lower side as those troughs end up settling down to our south. Nonetheless, there is a slim chance for some rain showers Monday night through the early part of Wednesday. Slim chance for a few spotty sprinkles for Saturday, dry for Sunday, high temperatures pushing that 60 degree mark. Then we'll stay with the 50s with that slim chance for rain returning for the early part of next week.